Hey all, Christina here from Copictopia.com for Split Coast Stampers. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this super adorable double pop-up surprise card. This is not my original idea. I got this from someone who is making a scrapbook page. I hope you enjoy it. Let's get on with the supplies. So we have our tape runner, we need a ruler, we need a bone folder, a pencil, some 3D foam, some glue, and we're also going to need a stamp set. I'm using Otterly Love by Ink and Splatter. I love these little otters. I'm also going to be using some pattern paper by Ink and Splatter, which is Sand and Sea, and it's a 6x6 pad. You also need your scoreboard. Now on with the card. We're going to start with an 8.5 by 5.5 sheet of white paper, and we are going to score it at 4 1/4. Mine is already scored, but it doesn't hurt to score it again. And be sure to burnish it too. So now we're just going to go ahead and set this aside after burnishing it. And I'm going to grab a 5 3/8 by 2 3/8 piece of cardstock. We are going to score this at 1 1/4, at 2 1/2, at 3 3/4, and at 5. We will have to score this again, but we're going to set it aside for now so that we can score our 5.5 by 5.5 piece of cardstock at 3. It doesn't matter what side, just score it at 3 and then burnish the edge. And we're going to set that aside. I removed the white paper so that you could see a little bit better, and I'm going to zoom the camera in so you can really see what I'm doing. So I have that little piece where we scored at 5 inches on the left side, and I'm going to score from corner to corner on those second and third sections. As you can see, I'm just going to make a great big X as I turn my paper, and I'm just going corner to corner again over those 2 sections next to that little tiny 1/4 of an inch score line. So now I'm going to go ahead and grab my scoring tool again, and I made those lines so that I could score nice and straight and not go too far and know what I was doing. So you're going to go ahead and score and fold over those 2 lines that we just created. And we're just going to make a big X. Make sure they fold nice. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the score tool, and I've zoomed back out, and I'm going to erase those lines. If you don't erase the lines, nobody will see it, so it's not going to really matter, but I always try to erase them if I can. Now we're going to burnish these score lines. And we're just going to be going back and forth, burnishing everything, making sure that it all folds in. Those 2 next to the X, you want to fold those in kind of like a little origami house roof so that it will fold into like a little triangle. Now I'm going to go ahead and score the other 2 lines really well because I need those to fold. So now we've got our card base again, and we're going to go ahead and start a little bit of the decoration. We need to grab our 5 1/4 by 4 patterned paper, and that's just going to go on the inside back flap, so it's going to go on the right side of the card. I'm just using my tape gun to go ahead and put some mono adhesive on there. I'm going to slide that right on the inside of the card. Now we want to put in our mechanism, but we want to center it, so we're going to grab our ruler and we are going to measure it on the card base at 2 3/4. That's the center of the card base, and then we're going to measure the center of the mechanism where we're going to glue it, and the center of that's going to be 1 7/8. So then we can go ahead and line up our 2 dots and grab our glue. And we're just going to put glue on that first section that's closest. I'm really sorry about the camera zooming in and out. I don't know why it kept focusing. But just lay your card down and really rub that glue in so that it's all nice and stuck. Now you want to go ahead and put glue on that little tiny 1/4 inch tab that was on the score line, and then close the card again and rub it really well and just let it dry for a minute. If it pops loose a little bit, don't worry, it's okay. Just lay it back down. Now we need our 2 3/8 by 2 3/8 white pieces of cardstock and our 2 1/4 and 2 1/4 patterned paper. We're going to go ahead and use our mono adhesive to attach both of them together. These are going to be the little cards that pop out for the little otters, or whatever stamp set you're using. Now we're going to take our liquid glue and glue them onto our mechanism. So these little triangle corners right here, you only want to glue that part. And then put the little square in straight, and you want to line it up a little bit with the edge, but you don't want it right on the score line of your mechanism either, because then it's going to cause problems for you coming out. So again, just put the glue on that little triangle like I am here, and I slowed the video down a little bit so you could see, but I'm just trying to make sure that they're straight and it's not right on that score line of the mechanism. Just let it dry for a second, kind of rub it in a little bit. It's not going to work perfect at first since you don't have everything together, but at least make sure that they fold in and that your mechanism is working. Now we want to go ahead to our 5.5 by 5.5 sheet, and we want to get our patterned paper that measure 5 3/8 by 2 7/8, and we want our 5 3/8 by 2 3/8. This is going to go to the inside of your 5.5 by 5.5 cardstock, and we're just going to put that in with mono adhesive. This piece is the piece that is going to cover up our mechanism. Now I'm also grabbing a 4 7/8 by 2 5/8 and a 4 7/8 by 1 7/8 white cardstock. I put this in the inside, and you don't have to, but I thought it would be nice if we went ahead and had some room to write a little message. So I just went ahead and popped those in there. And now I'm going to go ahead and stick them into the card. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can do the 3-inch side the way it is right now and line it up with the edge of your card and glue that down first. Or you can put glue on this section here, and that's the section that's closest, and the little triangle spot, which I forgot to do. And then push that down and make sure it's lined up. But one of the tricks of doing the glue first is that you have to pull your card back and do the 3-inch side afterwards. So it's really what is easiest for you and what you want to do. But that makes your little pop-up card mechanism, just like that. So now I'm going to speed this up because it's just the decorating part. I'm going to use mono adhesive to put my 5 by 3 3/4 sheet of pattern paper on my 5 1/4 by 4 white cardstock. Then I'm going to be using some liquid glue to put the cattlilies and the rocks on the front of the card. I'll use 3D foam to put the otters on front of the card as well. I'm also going to be using some liquid glue to put the little water drops that you see at the top of the screen. I also stamped out a sentiment on a 3.5 by 1/2 inch piece of paper, and I'm going to use my scissors to make a little flag, and then I'm going to use my bone folder to curl the paper. I'll put this sentiment on with liquid glue, and then here is the water drop that I said I was going to put on. I'm putting the cover onto the front of the card with some 3D foam, and I'm just going to line that up. And then for the inside, I'm going to put the two little swimming otters on the little pop-out cards with a little bit of the water drops. And then I'm also going to use liquid glue to put everything else on. This card's already a little bit chunky, so I don't want to make it more chunky. I'm just putting a couple of rocks and a little otter on the inside where you write. You don't have to do that, but I thought it would be fun. And now our card is done. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial and will have a good time making these cards for all your friends and family. I will see you all next time. Inky hugs. Bye.